Okay, good evening. And I'm going to bring up what Todd was talking about at the Delphi trial that just happened. This the state of Indiana, county of Rush, in the matter of an investigation by the Rushville Police Department, 2019. Affidavit for probable cause in support of search warrant. Comes now your affidavit, Major Todd A. Click, being duly sworn upon his oath, a police officer with the Rushville Department. Just lost track. Swears and affirms that the following statement is true. 1. I have been employed by police as a police officer at the Rushville Police Department since May 2001. 2. I currently serve as Assistant Chief of Police and hold the rank of Major, where I am responsible for supervising major criminal investigations. I have served in this capacity since January 1st, 2012. 3. I have executive training and experience conducting major criminal investigations. I served as detective in Rushville Police Department from August 2008 to December 31st, 2011. 4. In August 2018, I began providing investigative assistance, and I did reach out to him to investigate the working double homicide of Abby Williams and Liberty German in Delphi. During the course of this investigation, I learned that Johnny Messer, Eric Basham were involved in a kidnapping that occurred in Indianapolis, Indiana. I had spoken with Taylor Hornaday, Johnny Messer's ex-girlfriend. Taylor told me that Johnny Messer and Eric Basham had gone to Indianapolis on December 29th, 2017 to purchase meth. Taylor told me that Johnny had been in contact with a guy thought was named Mike. Taylor told me that Johnny Messer, Eric Basham, met with Mike and gave him $4,000 to purchase methamphetamine. Taylor told me that Mike failed to return to where Johnny Messer and Eric Basham were, and it's essentially stole their $4,000. Taylor told me that Johnny Messer kidnapped a friend of Mike. Taylor told me that friend went on the street name of Weiner. Taylor told me that Johnny Messer kidnapped Weiner at gunpoint until he either got $4,000 back or his $4,000 methamphetamine. Taylor told me that she had previously installed a spyware program on Johnny Messer's cell phone that allowed her to listen to Johnny's surroundings through the speaker on his cell phone. Taylor told me that she was listening to the kidnapping app as it was happening. Taylor told me that she could hear Weiner begging Johnny Messer not to kill him. In November 2018, a search warrant was obtained through Vigo County, Indiana, where Taylor Hornaday's cell phone. The search warrant, in conjunction with the Delphi double homicide investigation, during that search of Taylor Hornaday's cell phone, recording of Johnny Messer cell phone calls were found. One of the recordings of Johnny Messer talking to someone regarding the theft of $4,000. The phone call recording corroborated Taylor's report of the kidnapping in Indianapolis. On January 15th, 2019, I went to Putnamville Correctional Facility and interviewed Eric Basham. Eric Basham confirmed the kidnapping took place. Eric told me that he had recently gotten into a large monetary settlement. Eric Basham told me that Johnny Messer had gone to Indianapolis to purchase 4,000 of methamphetamine. Eric told me that he and Johnny Messer made contact with one of Johnny's connections. Eric Basham also told me that gave Johnny's connections $4,000, and this guy was supposed to come back with $4,000 worth of methamphetamine. Eric Basham told me that this guy stole his money. Eric told me that Johnny Messer grabbed the guy's friend, Weiner, at gunpoint and put him in the truck. Eric Basham told me that Johnny Messer had a 380 handgun, that he didn't have any bullets for the gun. Eric told me that Johnny was trying to use Weiner as leverage to either get 4,000 back or for that 4,000 meth. Make sure. And that Weiner would be released upon getting the $4,000 in drugs or the money back. On January 28th, 2019, I was contacted by Taylor Hornaday. Taylor told me that while cleaning her house today, she found an old cell phone. Taylor told me that she thought this cell phone belonged to her ex-boyfriend, Johnny Messer. Taylor told me that she entered the cell phone and it confirmed that the old cell phone belonged to Johnny Messer. Taylor told me that she also found messages on the phone regarding Johnny's involvement in the kidnapping that occurred in Indianapolis. I have probable cause to believe that evidence of the crime and kidnapping be stored within the cellular phone is described as a Samsung Galaxy J1 cell phone belonging to Johnny Messer. I respectfully request a search warrant to be issued for seize, analyze data, and be stored within this. That may be stored in this cell phone device. Contact list, incoming, outgoing call history, incoming, outgoing text message history, photo gallery, notes, and any and all areas where digital media can be stored. Well, when I looked up Eric Basham, and we all know about Johnny Messer, but when I looked up Eric Basham, a Kurt Liggett, a Carl Liggett. And that's not all. There is another one with a very familiar last name, Robert Hammond, all set on Eric's friends list. This is just one of many Facebook accounts that Eric has. But if you go back on the friends list, and if you know what to look for, what names to look for, you're going to find names that sit friends with Eric Basham that go back, just like I've been saying, from the very get-go. This drug ring, the Sons of Odin, there's a third yet to be seen by many of you, the militia groups that go in and around and are associated back to this drug ring. It's not your typical run-of-the-mill drug ring. It is a cartel ran and operated drug ring. So the buyout of elected officials, prosecutors, law enforcement to look the other way, low and high, is a very real possibility and can not be looked away by us. The reason they want all us sleuthers silenced and not looking into this case is what we are finding. Look what I found when it comes to Labrate and Judge Gall being friends, family friends, and knowing each other and being friends for years. That wasn't a conflict of interest. Nobody knew about that until I found it and brought it up. Like I've been telling you guys, social media is one hell of a tool if you know how to use it correctly and you know what you're looking for and what you're looking at and where to look at. It's taken me years, and this is before Karina in 2016, where I've been looking up domestic terrorism issues. I've been finding drug ring dealers and the like around that issue. And then when Karina's happened, it opened my eyes to even more. And the reason I've been trying so much is when you hear somebody like Karina multiple times that night when I was helping, watching, and standing over protecting that girl with my own life, like I told her, if anybody came, I had her make me a promise. If anybody was to come, I will hold off as best as I can, as long as I can, do whatever I can to give her enough time to run as far as she could, hide, do whatever you need to get away from the people. In her own words, multiple times that night, and she made sure to correct me if I moved wrong or if she could think somebody could see her. If they see me, I'm as good as dead. Try sleeping on that. Try have that in your mind, knowing to me that was somebody's last words, other than thank you for everything when she left with Paige Turley, who, mind you, sits my FBI informant 1023 informant files, along with Gabe Ellis, and everybody thinking Gabe Ellis had nothing to do with it. Gabe admitted to Jerry McClurkin, and I do have that phone recording now from the jail, where he admitted Paige did, for a fact, bring Karina out to his trailer. That's where Paige and his stories took a turn opposite directions. But he did confirm, like I've said from the very get go, that yes, Paige did bring Karina out to her house, his trailer. Mind you, this is the same trailer that, if you remember right, Sierra Daly, the underage girlfriend, which is now above age, you can talk about, was living in front of him. How he got to know her, how he got to pretty much the allowance of buying her underwear, lingerie, and kind of doing what you see Keegan, somebody that was under him, was doing on social media. False persona. Here, I'm going to get you this. I'll do this for you. Blah, blah, blah. Where do you think Keegan learned that from? Go back and listen to the live with Blaine Nelson. Keegan was sent to Vegas, not for weed, but it was for meth for Gabe in that ring. Facts. And that's from Blaine, his own words. Like he said, he called Gabe his brother, non-blood related brother, and his offspring, like his daughter, his niece. I've gotten texts where Blaine was actually saying where he and Gabe and another individual, Josh, was using Gabe's daughter's apartment as a trap house, and that he taught Gabe's daughter everything she knew about the drug ring and how to operate and deal and operate out of that house. And I'm going to bring this up. What I found around Eric Basham and many others, there's cases down Indianapolis, missing and killed. Mind you, I'm not just hearsay saying this. I showed where the same drug ring names, dealers, ones in and around the drug ring, and only 2 cases up north of Indy, Karina and Delphi. And I showed a IMPD officer, Garland Odell Cooper. And yes, the agent that was over me, Michael Curtis, was given this as well, where Garland, Southeast Side IMPD, admits that yes, IMPD detectives and drug task force, when they said, we, there is ties and connections being made. And that is the ties and connections that was being spoke of. That are being tied back to even baby Mia and other toddlers and missing and killed cases right there in Indy. Look at this kidnapping. What have I said from the very beginning? I've said, look at the sons of Odin, Gabe, Kyle, the other names that came up, Brad, who sits in my 1023 informant files, along with his militia group. The militia group that Brad was part of was the real reason why the FBI agents over me, Michael Curtis, and others were really in FBI that day. They were following up on ground in-person surveillance. There was supposed to have been training going on at Ron Logan's property. They left 24 hours before the girl's case. Why do you think FBI went after Ron Logan as fast and as hard as they did? And everybody's asking me, how do I know so much? There was at times where mobile ground shakers, I had to become a hang-around, which is a person that's, before you become a prospect for a motorcycle club, you have to, give me a second. Sorry about that. But like I've been saying from the very get-go, and can somebody in the comments, I don't know where I was, but where I was getting at was what I was finding when, okay, I was informant-wise. Oh, mobile ground shakers. Danny DeMolin, one of the AKA pimps of Kokomo. This is where I met Bouts more than once. Bouts, among other high-ranking individuals, have been to mobile ground shakers after set, after hours, after the party. And what a after set is after the bars close. That set closes. So the after set is from 3 a.m. to about 7 a.m. For about 4 hours, this motorcycle club would put a party on. Well, when everybody was pushed out the door, went home, and the place was getting cleaned up, that's where the strippers from Downey's club, show clubs, Big Daddies, Little Daddies, would come in after he was busted for prostitution. 16 charges. It was his money, his ties, and the corruption within Howard County that he was allowed to get off 16 charges of prostitution. But if you look up Danny DeMolin and the corruption ties back to Kokomo, Howard County, Carroll County, and others, you're going to start noticing where some of these names overlap. Where Fouts, where some of his money was going, it wasn't to the Lafayette crew or drug ring or sex ring. It was the sex and drug ring right there in Howard County in Kokomo. Hands down. It was Kokomo crew, the Kokomo ring, where his money, where he was getting individuals from. Not Lafayette. But then you have Bouts that's been assisting other individuals in around this drug ring. Anthony Greeno, shall I keep listing the names, and didn't get disbarred and allowed to still retain his attorney license, law license. Why? You were proven involved with a sexual trafficking, exploitation of females, stepped down as a judge as such, and you didn't get disbarred. Something smells fishy and smells like corruption. Not unheard of. When it comes to corruption, the FBI agent over me, Michael Curtis, even told me the FBI knew all about the corruption going on. Wasn't anything new to him, didn't surprise him. But he's like, anything you get, give it back to me, and I will make sure it gets pushed on. So it sits in my files where a lot of the corruption, KPD attacking me, trying to disbar me as a witness, and mental disabilities. I've had PTSD since I was a kid. We went over that in the last slide. And they're trying to use what Tyler French just even, again, others in this drug ring are mirroring what the FBI, and FBI, but KPD has been trying to say. I shouldn't be a credible witness because I've got PTSD. I've got mental instability. I'm not all mentally healer. Are you sure you're not on meth? No. And I even took a blood test up there from a test that I got done showing, look, I might have THC in my system. That's it. But is there any meth? Any methamphetamine? Any narcotics? No. So that was a bullshit lie. The PTSD, like I said, I've had since I was a kid. It was sexual trauma that I sustained when I was a kid. It does a lot to you. It messes with your head. But not to the point where I'm so messed up that I can't comprehend what is right from wrong. Mind you, this when I was like probably 10, 9, 10. So it's years back. I mean, years. This is almost 20 years, 20 plus years ago. Trauma. I might have some nightmares, some issues that came from it, but by all means, I'm mentally here. Psychiatrist, I see one. The only thing I have wrong with me, I have a little bit of depression, and not an issue. I haven't had depression for a while, for years. But the anxiety, that is the only thing I'm being treated for right now is anxiety. And nerve issues. The only thing I've got on me is a nerve med. It's almost like Xanax, but not Xanax. We need to know it's called busporin. Back when I was in Kokomo, it was called like busporin. It was in a bar. It was 100 milligrams. Right now I'm back down to 20. Been doing great. Yeah, I hate sometimes how this makes you kind of feel. It kind of gets you where you're kind of looking left or right and you're kind of spinning or just moving your eyes and kind of moving your head and you're like, whoa. It's been kind of an issue. It's an issue I've had with it before. And the higher dose, I would almost go comatose when I take it at night. I would zoink out. I'd go right to bed. But one thing I do want to bring up is when it comes to this drug ring, the Sons of Odin issue. Before the rest of these creators go on, look at me, look what I found, look at me. Who's been telling you to look in the right direction from the very beginning? Deep dive. And it makes me wonder where Robert Hammond, Carl, and Kurt Liggett. I'm in the process now of looking up Tony and Detective Hammond's family trees. If they are family, did you know there's Liggetts that live in Allen County? And if that is family members, that's not an issue and doesn't raise a, oh, wow, to you guys. The thing is, all these other content creators, Frank, Marv, they deleted all the videos where, like Matt Sullivan, trust me, you can believe me, you can trust me, you can tell me everything, began to do so. A lot of my information was going from my mouth to theirs. Oh, look what we found. Look what we know. Subscribe, join us. But yet, It wasn't their own intel. They were only giving you bits and pieces, but the deeper truth, the ties, the connections back to these multiple missing killed cases. Frank doesn't want you to know the drug ties, meth, others, dealers, users. That's it. Right there on his own friends list. Called me out before. Do you have a problem with me? No. I've got an issue with some of your friends that go back in this drug ring that shows up around multiple missing killed cases. That's the problem I got. Problem I've always had. You know more around this drug ring than what you want to lead on. What you want to say. You refuse to even say it. I'm not trying to attack. I'm just bringing out the facts. Do you want me to show the friends list? The users, the dealers that you're friends with that go back in and around this drug ring? Multiple cases? I'll do it by all means. I'm not attacking. I'm just wanting people to see the facts. Just like Anthony Greeno. You're friends with Paige Turley, multiple dealers, Christy Lynn Martin, the one that took charges in place of Gabe, when one individual turned CI and went to go turn Gabe in, Christy Lynn Martin. It was right after ammonia and then a manufacturing charge. Christy took the charges in place of Gabe. I've been the one getting death threats. If I keep talking, I'll be the next one missing and killed. I've got the original BG, Tyler French, right there. Threats. When I see you in person, you're not going to be able to run. Oh, wait, you can't. And hide behind a screen. Like I said last time, I've got a cat and they don't like the water bottle. So if you hear me squirting the bottle, they're starting to meow and they don't like water. So sorry about that. But mark my words, when everything is said and done, Delphi, Flora, Javon Blackwell, David Kallenberger, Karina, among many others, the real reason their cases happen. Drugs, money, and all they needed was a suspicion of somebody who was going to snitch and roll, be it on drugs or like Nicole. Was she going to speak what she found out, what she knew when it came back to Delphi? Was that the real reason they had to silence her? Wasn't drugs? It makes one wonder. And what I'm seeing in cartel, if you look up nationally, I'm going to try to. Okay, now. That's where my mic is on my. Okay. I had my phone, not my phone, but my iPad in the holder and blocking the mic. So I think you guys can hear me a lot better now. I'm trying to figure out where the mic is on this thing. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, I think it's right here. So you guys can hear me clear as day, can't you? I don't want to put my headphones on and be talking louder, but one thing, like I've said, the drug rings involved, the Sons of Odin, Odinism, it plays a key part. And then when it comes to a hidden thing you guys have not caught on yet, but the militia, we are the 3%. I've had active duty military send me threats for speaking on their militia group involvement back to the drugs and the drug ring in that operation. And I was told the only thing between them and silencing me was time, opportunity, and state lines. And yes, it's something I have not shown publicly, but I've got active duty military personnel at the time making threats for the militia and that drug ring. It's either I shut up or they will shut me up. And it's the same issue where Tony Slocum, I'm calling you out. Frank Castiello sits for years in my FBI informant files as a known domestic terrorism suspect. And the reason I did this, because there's, I guarantee, another one that's been catching on to what I've been saying. And I guarantee he's going to do a live from outside the United States and reverb everything I'm telling you now. Elected officials, law enforcement, their family, their ties back to this drug ring. Blaine McClellan, Dilling, 2014. Other names going back to their family shown around other cases. Dilling using in around this drug ring, hands down, it's been there for years. Why do you think when it comes to this drug ring, if that's the real reason the girls lost their lives and this exact drug ring is involved, along with the Odinism, is the real factor, why do you think they're doing everything in their power locally to silence, to not allow people to be believed? Like Anna made sure to tell me, no one believes you and it's going to stay that way. Yeah, I need to shut the fuck up and nobody's going to believe you. Was told to me when all I did was ask about the drug ring and the fact that their families, more than one, go back to murder suspects, more than one case. Longtime family friends, but nothing to see here. All three of these. When it comes to Jennifer Barnes, the two other names in that, Willie Smith's murder, all three of them belong to the same drug ring. Assisted each other in a murder in Florida. But nothing to see here. Jennifer was the last one known to be leaving a trap house that, yes, they were using Galen Rose's apartment as a trap house. When asked about the traffic coming in and out of the house, she refused to talk about it. And like I said, I don't know if any of you have, but if you look up the witness list, every single witness on the lawsuit goes back in and around that drug ring, dealing and involved with that exact drug ring. And nothing against her. It's not the first time I've seen this drug ring prey on somebody that's struggling, like a single mom working a job, struggling to pay bills. They find weak targets like that. Hey, if you let us push some drugs out of your house, we'll give you a cut, and you didn't see anything. All this traffic coming and going, you don't know a thing. Don't say anything. I asked Meow this in a comment earlier. How long was it after Jennifer left, and did she leave out the back door? The same back door that the fire started at. Makes you wonder. All you had to do with something like that is a clear liquid and drop it on your way out. And if it's clear, like lighter fluid, something like that, it could soak in to wood easily. I don't know if her floor was like had linoleum or whatever on it, but something clear like a lighting fluid, if you were spraying that on the floor on the way out, and what Colton said sparked my interest. There was an individual that said there was a clear blue flame, which means it was most likely like an alcohol based accelerant. I don't know if you ever took, as a kid, uh, what is it? Hand sanitizer. That's another thing it could have been. It could have easily been something as a bottle of alcohol in their hand, in their pocket, or in a sleeve, and could have easily sprayed that, mixed in with a little bit of gasoline with alcohol, an alcohol bottle of alcohol, and been spraying that on their way out. And after they got outside and down like the sidewalk, leaned down, and if it was mixed with another accelerant, would make sense why it lasted long enough to be lit, and then the blue flame that was talked about being about 2 inches wide. If she left out that back door, it makes you wonder, were they cutting ties? Were they no longer wanting anything drug ring to do with Galen? And if so, another reason to get rid of that trap house, burn it and walk away. Or was it did they think for a second she was going to let it be known who's using it, what's going on, if pressured? Couldn't have that? Were they expecting her to perish in that fire along with the children? And the actions of the firefighters and the other ones outside not wanting to do anything. When you've got a firefighter friends with one like Christy Lynn Martin, a Diller, and Flora, makes you wonder. Not much there, because if you look at Christy Lynn Martin, he's now moved. But if you look back in his pictures, he was a Flora firefighter. What is a Flora firefighter doing friends with a known Diller in Flora? Was that same firefighter there at the scene? And it's sad because the other individuals that was sitting outside, if you look up some of their names, their family, it goes back to the drug ring. It really makes one wonder. But for a fact, every single one in the lawsuit, did they get a cut, including the murder suspect that sat when that lawsuit was won as a murder suspect behind bars, convicted of murder? Yes, she won that lawsuit, or that lawsuit was mitigated with a murderer as a witness. Nothing to see here. Every single one of those names on that witness list goes back to the same drug ring. The same drug ring that goes in around multiple other cases. But I've been laughed at. I've been kicked off of lives. I've been told to shut up. Don't bring that up. There's nothing to see there. The same individuals for years that have been pushing another narrative. Look over here. Don't look at what he's saying. Don't believe him. Don't listen to that. Don't look there. Frank, Sleuth, you guys were laughing when you guys kicked me when I brought up what? The Odinism? And now the drug ring? Proven yet again in another kidnapping? Facts, 2017, same time frame. But nothing to see here. But now it's in a document that Click put out. Oh, wow, what's this? Not a laughing matter now, is it? While you guys were laughing, I'm sitting here trying to save lives. Both children alike. There's 19 children. Some that were burned alive that tie back to this drug ring. So while you guys were laughing at me, Frank, and I can bring that up for bringing up the facts and trying to save lives, you guys were laughing and kicking me off of lives when I was bringing up the facts that you did not want seen. You can use my information to start streams and then go to a different route and like, oh, there's nothing to see there. Don't look at him. Don't listen to him. Don't subscribe to him. Let's delete him. Let's get him off of here. I'm a victim myself of this drug ring. I'm speaking up for the victims that have lost their lives. Right? It's like the movie Jaws. You know what? I like that. No sharks in the water. Nothing to see here. But yet, if a officer puts it in a memo, oh guys, look at this. Look at this. Oh my God, look here. Now you see every content creator bringing it up. Oh my God, what's this? Oh, what's to see here? And what makes me sick is a lot of these individuals are not even from the United States. They're using what other creators are finding, like myself. It's not their lives on the line. When you got individuals like the BG, Tyler Joe French, threats to see you in person soon, not going to be able to run, hide behind a screen, and he's not going to be coming alone. If I keep talking, Daryl Farrell in writ, just like Tyler, they're not afraid of putting things in writ. Why? Because this drug ring, the individuals in and around this drug ring are getting protected by ones getting paid off to look the other way. Either that or like McClellan, have individuals within your family like Blaine dealing for this drug ring. If that drug ring, those dealers, and the involvement even into Delphi was looked at, it wouldn't look good on some elected officials, some law officials, even in some high standing areas. Oh crap, they believed him. They looked. This is what we did not want seen. This is why they didn't want the FBI involved. You remember? If you look up the audio, not just the written out audio, but the actual audio of when the girls were found at the crime scene. Is the FBI here? No. If they show up, keep them at bay if you can. Why would you want the FBI to keep at bay? FBI, when you've seen them on active missing children cases, the FBI will stay out all night. They will throw floodlights up in a meeting location. They will have people out there searching with flashlights even during the night. Look how many times that's done before. So the whole, let's stop, let's go home, and we'll start again in the morning. You're going to leave, unsecure a crime scene, and come back and pick up in the morning and resecure it. And that's just so happens when the girls were found and a magic bullet showed up after the crime scene was resecured. That is another reason why, in a case like this, you shouldn't have pulled off the investigation. You should have continued that investigation. I've done searches down in Tennessee when I was on a rescue squad. It wasn't a mandatory, but the ones that wanted to continue a search, I've done a water search. One of my first putting a person in a body bag was a sunken boat. There was 3 guys out drinking, having a good time, boating while drinking and something happened. The boat capsized. The other two got out alive. One was trapped, and I'm not going to go deep in subject, but we had to go hooking, like dragging hooks, either to find the boat itself where we can send divers down, or God forbid, if he was stuck, if you could actually get the guy. With it being almost 80 and the water temp being high up there and a few days missing, it was the worst experience of my life. It was a learning curve. I had to learn it. I had to do it at some time or another, but it was a water rescue, but more a water recovery. Instead of getting this boat, I end up getting the individual himself. I had a guy that's done this for years, did search and rescue, and he tugged on it a couple times. He's like, this doesn't feel like something solid. This feels like something as a person on the other uh, end of the line on the hook. And it would take a couple hours for our dive team to get there. So we end up moved the boat a couple times, a couple different areas, and this poor guy started floating to the surface. We tugged it a couple more times, and lo and behold, this guy came floating right to the surface. The smell, I don't wish upon anybody. The look, what I seen, I don't wish upon anybody. It was a learning curve that I had to learn. But like I said, doing missing individuals, even adults, campground, the Smokies. We've been actually called in where I was in Tennessee when the rescue squad was busy on a search and rescue, an issue like that, and or multiple wrecks. They didn't have the surrounding area could take up their uh like calls if they were getting swamped. They would call us, and we were only about 20 minutes down the road, and we would come in, and like one of our surrounding counties, if we were busy, would take our spot, our calls, and come in and do our county rescue squad. What a rescue squad is what we solely do. And I also did EMT and rescue squad, volunteer. When I say rescue squad in Tennessee, what it is missing uh, caves. We were cave trained. Uh, we were trained things like grain bins, like any rescue situation, missing cases. That's what we did. Entrapments. That's what we did. We took a lot of the stress off the active fire department, and instead of the fire department responding and like an entrapment, we got two people trapped in a vehicle that was in a wreck. It was crunched up. We had to extract them out using like the jaws of life. Yes, the fire department did have it, but we were the ones put in place to let them do their job, worry about what they had to do. It was less what they had to do, and one of them could go in, hold C spine, which is holding your head, your neck, perfectly still, putting a C collar on. We would do that, or one of our EMTs, or the fire department guys would go in while we were busy doing our thing, cribbing the car, getting the car secured. One of the worst ones I ever did was I had to wear a harness, the climbing gear, and climb into a car and drag a basket with me. There was a wreck, and where it was on the mountain climb. It was a really out of the way kind of road, no guardrails. So we had to actually drill into the concrete, secure this car, and get anchor points. So this car wasn't going anywhere, but it was kind of teetering off the cliff. Had to go in, put somebody in a basket. There was ended up two individuals, and this car is kind of rocking back and forth. I didn't hesitate. While they were trying to do that, I looked at them. I was like, I don't care if something happens to me. I need to make sure these people are okay. So I know the risk. I'm going out. I'm going in. I was one of the smallest guys. I was like 100 and what, 45, 150 pounds. I was the lightest guy there. I was like, I know what I'm doing. I've got my harness on. You've got a connection to this basket. Worst case scenario, I get both of these people in the basket at the same time, get them strapped in. If I pull the car going, yank them out, worry about me later. Get the victims out of here. So when it comes to search and rescue, I know what I'm talking about. And we volunteered to stay out all night. There was a kid missing, and I wasn't even on shift. We do like 24 hours on, then 48 hours off, or that kind of sort of thing. But we had a child went missing down in the Smokies. The rescue squad put out and asked for any available hands if they weren't busy, if they were allowed and wasn't doing the rescue shift, if they could come and help. We stayed out all night, all day for like 3 days. End up finding this kid wandering around in a massive forest. We did a grid square, we did grid searches, and did everything by the book. But we used flashlights, floodlights, the vehicle lights off the vehicles, the trucks, uh, getting water, food, supplies brought to the location, and we were doing it day and night. We didn't stop till that kid was found or evidence of where they may be. The reason why is in an area like that, you've got caves, you've got hidden caves, you've got sinkholes, issues like that are unseen. And if you would pack everything up, go home, come back in the morning, that person could be dead. So how they went home that night, it kind of boggles me on how you normally would do a missing case like that. It just blows my mind when you know how things are done or supposed to be done. I'm sorry, if I was one of the searchers up there, I would have stayed out all night looking. And I guarantee you, a group of people would be with, I guarantee you I'd talk them into it. I'm going to keep looking. If they're here, they're going to be found. And why? It's based on what I did before. And I found many people by not leaving. Keep looking. You may be tired. You may be hungry. You may be sore. Get over it. Push forward. A life is at stake. And the Delphi girls' lives are at stake. And it's the same thing I've been trying to push while these other creators are using my information and only using half that information. They're not giving you the dark, deep details of these individuals and the information that they're getting off me. They're reverbing it and only giving you the information that I've been saying. A little bit of what I've been showing and going, oh, look what I found. Look what I see. Look here. I'm not trying to make it all about me, but when I'm talking, I'm bringing up facts down to what I have in my FBI informant files. I'm here local. I'm in Indiana. I'm not from outside the United States reverbing information and thinking, oh, I'm going to solve this. The only way you're going to get this off is if you look at this drug ring and the issues in and around it. Back to multiple cases. Everybody wants to look at Delphi, Karina's, and other cases. It's only this case. It's only them. Nothing to look at. There's no ties back to another case. It's only this case. I've seen it time and time again. Talking to some of these families. That is not the way to look at this. The more you look at it as only one case, the more rabbit holes you're not going to be able to see the ties and connections back to this drug ring, this Odinism issue that show up around other missing and killed cases. The militia group. Many of you are like, what militia? Exactly. And it blows my mind. Like, all these people are getting subs, views, money, and oh, look at me from outside the United States, not even local, reverbing information, and everybody's like, oh my God, look what they found. How do you think they found it? How do they think they know so much? It's all the locals speaking the truth. Look here and why. Like me. I'm not the only one, and I'm not saying it's only happened to me. A lot of these outside the United States, they're reverbing information that they're finding off of other people's lives and going, ha, look what I found, look what I know. Here, listen to me rant and rave. I'm going to yell at this, and there's corruption, and this is why I think there's corruption. Yeah, it's my goofy impression, because it's goofy as hell. Look at me, look what I found. Yep, I did all the work to find this. Yep. So listen to me. I'm gonna yell and I'm gonna holler and scream and oh, there's corruption. There's this and that going on. But guess what? I did all the work. I found it. Yep, sure did. Listen to me. You're hours. You're hundreds of thousands of miles away getting reverbed information. But yep, look at me. Makes me sick. And everybody, thousands of people are flocking to somebody reverbing information, a lot of the times hours, even a day after it's already been done, already been out there. I'm not trying to attack anybody, but come on. That's insane. There's missing people in the outback. I got friends of mine down in Australia. There's missing people going missing all over the place in Australia, United Kingdom, Scotland, Canada. There's a lot of missing killed cases, but you hear these outside the United States bring that up. That's not where the attention is. That's not where the money, that's not where the subscribers, the views, attention will go to. They're hitting a hot topic, and it's not because they want justice. It's the whole fact of look at me, look what I know. Instead of doing a lot of cases within their own countries, they're zeroing in on where the money, the subscribers, the views, the donations are going to come from. Oh, sweet. See, if I rant and rave about this, I'm going to get donations. I'm making hundreds. I'm making thousands. I'm getting subscribers. But if I talk about something local, like us locals here in Indiana and the United States are doing, nothing happens. I'm seeing it time and time again. Us locals, we got something many of you don't know. It's called the streets. The streets talk. Something you guys can't do from outside the United States. But some people won't want to talk to you about online, email, private messaging. They'll get a line to you, or hey, can you make sure so and so gets in contact with me? want to meet you in person and tell you in person because they're afraid for their lives. I've seen it more than once. So the streets talk. And you, outside the United States, reverbing my information, you don't know everything I know. What I've been seeing, what I've been finding, where I've been looking, why I've been looking. And doing it just for subs, views, and attention and money. It's sick. I've had one group attack me. Then there was an attack in comments. So, I've been asking for money. I had one medication. My insurance didn't cover. I asked for a little bit of help. What, $40? I did not have my disability or anything coming in. And just to prove some wrong, here, we're going to go to my like this month alone, I've made $36, almost $40. No donations. I've got 2 members. I think these 2 members, and they know who they are, don't get very many donations. I've gotten, 3 this month? One of them, all 3 of these were that one member. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this for the justice, to give voice and get the justice for more than one victim. And to save my own life. I get $628 a month in disability until my VA goes through, and that comes on. We're in the works of that now. That we won my civilian disability case. My lawyer is now going against the VA. That is why I'm in the wheelchair. It was issues that happened, the TBI that I sustained while I was in the Army. There was a biothrax. It's the anthrax vaccine that was actually 3 bad batches that we were forced to take. It wasn't optional. We were forced to take biothrax, the anthrax vaccine. And the long-term severe side effects of that vaccine is what leaves me with multiple scoliosis, nerve damage, and why I'm in a wheelchair. I'm not paraplegic, so the idiots that are saying that, you're in a wheelchair. I'm not very steady when I stand. I have to have my leg braces. I have to have my arm supports, like my arm crutches, my forearm crutches, or a cane or something to hold on to. I can transfer to a vehicle. I can walk a short distance as long as I'm leaning up to a vehicle or getting help from somebody or a device. I can move more than you think I am able to. I just can't go very far. Very steady. And it sucks. But thinking I'm paraplegic and I'm stuck, I can't move in a wheelchair, is a very disgusting way of thinking. But back to this. The more you guys look towards this drug ring and around it, the more you'd be able to look. I've got one person pre-consistent. She's actually kind of sitting down. Bob is another that are actually sitting down, hearing me out, looking where I'm showing and why. While many of you are going to be years behind on what I know and what took me losing everything. I've lost everything to my name. Been put to the streets. Hungry. Middle of the winter. It was like negative degrees outside. And I'm staying in what was a little dollhouse made for a older gentleman I did work for, his grandkids, to kind of have a playhouse to resemble his house. Actually had a door, screen door, where I can shut it, lock it, and throw all what little bit of clothes I had, the couple blankets I was able to get in there, and that's the only way I was keeping warm. I've lost everything but my life, and I'm still fighting, still standing, and speaking, not just for myself. Look at me, subscribe to me, donate to me. Never been about that. Not who and what I'm about. What little I do get from the help I do get, it goes to some things I need, but a lot of it goes into I save up and I get a little bit more gear for this page so I can do more. I can get out and get more done. I'm in the process right now of getting my license to go out. I want to get to Kempton. Do you hear any of these others talking about Randy Bradley's case? I want to get to Kempton. I've talked to one of her family members, even they want to know what happened to the rest of her remains. I want to do some B-roll going down Division Road, leading into Kempton, and the crime scene where he did what he did to Brandy. Then I want to actually take the drone up right there where they lived, get an aerial of where they lived. And why? When they were talking about acid, the smell of acid being in the house, and not all her remains there, and them being a handyman, it makes me wonder. Buckets, barrels, where is the rest of her remains? They wouldn't have gone far where they did what they did to Brandy to discard the rest of those remains out in a rural area out in the middle of the country. So it makes me wonder, if I was to get the drone up, would I see buckets? Give me a second. But that's one thing I was getting at is even a family member of hers was asking what they were explaining, what they found. That's not all of her remains. Where are the rest? And with him doing what he did out in the middle of the country, could he have disposed of her somewhere near Kempton? Do you see the law enforcement looking around, getting cadaver dogs out, kind of searching around other than the dumpster? The rest of her remains are out there somewhere. And I feel all it takes is somebody to look and actually take the time. And when you're doing drones, you can do aerial and you can get a lot more done, see a lot more, go further, faster than you can on land. And it just makes you wonder, is there some buckets sitting out in the middle of a field in a ditch right there in plain sight and nobody can see? I just want to kind of get the ability to kind of rule that out, or if, by God, if that's the fact that it is what happened, you get the drone up and whoa, what's this? If there's 2 or 3 buckets in a ditch, or when I call ditch, it's not. I'm not talking one of those 2-3 foot ditches. In our country roads here in Indiana, we got the massive ditches, like 20-30 foot wide and 10-15 feet deep, and it could be anywhere from 5 feet to 20 feet deep of water there. And it makes you wonder, and most of the time in these ditches, it's not moving. It's kind of stagnant water, so you can see through down to the bottom. I've done enough beaver trapping and all that around this water, around these areas, that hands down, if you're looking from above, you're going to be able to see a good portion of what's in that water. If there's something in that water, I've seen basketballs, I've seen soccer balls, uh, buckets, like empty buckets on the side. You can see through the water. It makes you wonder, is that there, just waiting to be found? But everybody that's laughed at me, told me, oh, there's nothing to look there, and push another false narrative, look at here for subs, views, and money, make me sick. Because now what are they talking about? Everything they've told me for years. I'm nuts. I don't know what I'm talking about. He's nuts. Don't listen to him. But oh, after Click and it came out, now even Click is talking about it. And yes, I've talked to Click himself. I told everybody down south there was an individual taking investigation tips down there, southern Indiana. I wasn't lying. It was Click. He was only wanting to go after Brad Holder. I brought up Gabe Ellis, Steve, and him. His son's at Odin. Kyle Stacy. The ones that had money, drugs, and people of their drug ring getting locked up. A very real motive. And like I said, most of these cases, it's somebody that knows the family. Drug dealers, other users, friends, that knows the family directly. When it comes to missing and killed cases, most of the time, it is a family member or somebody that knows what? The family of the victim. Most of the time, it's the victim themselves. But what I'm seeing on lives being taken, it's at times, if a certain individual rolls on this drug ring or owes a debt, money, and drugs, the cartel. Look up. If you think I'm lying, look up. Cartel bylaws. You don't go after the one that owes you and us the money. You go after the ones around them, be it sons, daughters, mothers. Like, that's where you want to look at. And when you look there, lo and behold, you got an uncle, you got an aunt, you got a mom, dad, be it brother, that rolled, and it cost even kids' lives. And then you got individuals sitting silent along with their families, refusing to do anything, to speak up. And they know damn well the drugs, the money, the rolling is behind more than one child's death. I've never tried to attack the family, but when you're a dealer inside this drug ring and you're just so happen to be a father, an uncle, a cousin, sister, brother, and it's cost the lives of kids, and you're going to sit silent on you're dealing, your buddy's dealing. Why? That is the only question I have is why? Is it to save your own face? Your own, oh, we got to make sure it's picture perfect, camera ready. And the reason they're kind of afraid that, oh, if the drugs are shown to be the reason, I get why many of them are kind of afraid. Not only will the news media kind of turn a blind eye, then you'll have like talk shows that many of these been on not wanting to do anything with you. Most of these cases, I've seen 70 missing killed cases. I've seen active users, even a dealer like Javon Blackwell. His 2 kids killed. Over his dealing, they only took the money, the drugs. All go back to that Kokomo drug ring. But nothing to see here. It just blows my mind. Why? Then you got individuals that know darn well if that was to show up, oh, so it was the dad's dealing, the uncles, the family members dealing, the money, the debt, the rolling that costs kids their lives. Oh my God. The donations stop. The money stops. The picture perfect life stops. The truth gets shown. Why do you think law enforcement are so adamant of not letting this be seen? It's not just because it hurt their image, like individuals like that know darn well what's going on, but the corruption within law enforcement, elected officials, would be exposed as well in full. Wouldn't look good. A lot of elected officials would lose their jobs. Many with the Indiana, and mind you, one thing everybody needs to start pushing for is Indiana police accountability law. Holman's actions, right there, under the Indiana police accountability law, when you're found in violation and you violate that law, not only can you be charged, fined, but you are supposed to lose your law license. It's supposed to be taken away and never be allowed into law enforcement again. Look up the law, Indiana Police Accountability Law, and look up what Holman has been violating and still retaining a badge within Indiana State Police. Carter, why? Indiana DA, why are you allowing these individuals to violate your guys' own law? Blatantly letting it be out. I'm coercing. I'm violating constitutional rights. I'm violating this Indiana state law, but nothing to see here. And look at my community law. Tomorrow I'm going to try doing a live where I'm going to bring up uh, the school resource officer that served a certain individual over sexual harassment, asking for nudes of a female staff member while they're trespassed from Delphi Community Schools. And all these other creators, I guarantee once this gets shown and said about, oh, look what we found here. Whoa, what's this? There's a law official talking about corruption. Wow. Who would imagine? Oh, look what we found. Look at us. It came from guess where? Just saying. From the very beginning, I've been saying, look here and look why. Unlike them, I'm not trying to get subscribers. I'm not trying to get views. The main thing I want is justice for multiple kids. Above all, lives taken. And be it a RICO investigation, the corrupt officials that are protecting this drug ring and allowing more kids, more adults to go missing and killed, to be behind bars, and no longer ever allowed to have that badge and work in any capacity in law enforcement ever again. No law, no capacity whatsoever. It needs to happen. The elected officials. There's a senator right there in Kokomo showing up a lot of the corrupt elected officials that this officer that took early retirement, one of the first ones that after the 2018 video that's in my videos within KPD, Once they seen that they were protecting, they were covering Gabe Ellis and that drug ring, a sexual predator, throwing him under the rug, nothing to see here. His mom's friends with the mayor and some other elected officials. It'd be bad for us. We kind of get their mayor's friend's son on murder charges and his drug ring, his dealing. Let's set this individual up. It's not the first time that this drug ring and locals, law enforcement, elected officials have worked together to set somebody up to take the fall in place of this drug ring, to protect this drug ring and their own asses. You heard that from me. Not the first time that they've sat there, set somebody up to take the fall for this drug ring. Think I'm lying? Flint Farmer, Karina McClurkin's case. There was a firefighter, her own mother, said choked her to death after paying Gabe Ellis more than once while he was sexually trafficking her. It was at a firefighter's hands that she died. Marlena's own words. There was a life just this last summer. Ricky Bubby Lewis admitted everything. I've been speaking the truth. I've said everything. He was right there, right next to her. When she told me everything. When she was giving a tour of the crime scene after the suspects called her to come to the crime scene to pick up her glasses and cell phone. To help them set up. Oh, she left her cell phone. She left her glasses back at the house. Not the first time that a family member and a family have been complicit and helped. Her own cousin, Crystal Daly, when I asked her about Sierra, her other cousin, Karina's cousin, I asked Crystal, when Gabe Ellis, his drug ring, his buddies went and did Delphi, did what they did in Delphi, did Sierra go with them? I don't think she was. So you mean to tell me she wasn't missing after all? Just like they're trying to say Karina was missing down in Florida. That was her down in Florida when the same family was complicit in letting each other on the mother's side know and was sharing the information even to boyfriends. And I've got this in red where they were making a scene, making it all about them. Look at me, look at me. Oh my God, I can't believe she's missing. And you've got Paige Daly telling her boyfriend that forced her to get back with him, left this Michael dude, and got back with her boyfriend, or else I guarantee he would tell the truth, what he knows. But he came on 48 hours within Karina being missing. You've got Paige Daly telling her boyfriend that she was dead. He comes back on in the comments, I can't believe she's dead. I cried when I heard. Then you got Jerry coming in saving the day. We don't know she's dead yet. She's still missing. Letting their boyfriend know, the mother's side of the family know she was dead. How? The suspects called the mom, the same mom that set her up to get picked up from her house and dropped off. Yes, she called Shannon Jackson Young to come pick her up and drop her off. Set this all in motion. Then the suspects knew to call her after it was said and done. She had a complicit role in her own daughter's murder. And then sitting stone face, as stone face she was on that news conference, is the same stone face, no emotions, no nothing. Just like Barbara Bradley, Brandy's mom, didn't even mention on Facebook nothing that her daughter is missing. There's other family members saying that disturbs them. That made them sick. A lot of these families know a lot more, and I guarantee you, family or not, the law that they used, dealers, when their drugs are involved in overdoses can be charged with murder. With murder. If you look up Boone County, Indiana, when Deputy Pickett was killed, the prosecutor and the sheriff's department there demanded that that law be used but reworded. Dealers whose drugs are involved with a murder should be charged with murder. I've been demanding and begging the individual that made that law put it into a law after a bill got it passed and put into a law. Reword that any dealer, be it family or not, their drugs are complicit in a murder, a missing and killed, even just missing case, should be charged with murder. And I guarantee it, if they could roll on each other for less time on drugs, you're going to get the full truth down to Delphi, Flora, Logansport, David Kallenberger, Jamie Beasley, Baby and Mia, others. If you charge the individuals, family or not, if you're a dealer like Blaine Nelson, he's no longer here. God bless his soul. But what I got information from him wise, the dealers, the other ones complicit in craziness, if you charge them all with murder, even the ones sitting behind bars, anybody that was a dealer involved with that drug ring, including Blaine McClellan, Derek, Del Wood, Joshua Lank, any dealer that was involved with that drug ring from X time to this time, and all these cases get multiple murder charges on them, if they can roll on each other for drugs, do you think they're not going to roll on each other in every single detail? I had nothing in on this. I might have dealt during this time, but this is what's going on. This is who did it, and this is what happened, and this is who all that is involved to get those charges dropped. And watch as the crows fall to the ground. It's like you're going to be popping them off one at a time, flying like geese. You know, popping them off, and it's like boom, another one falls, another one falls. Watch the dominoes fall one after another. Charge each and every single dealer like they did in Boone County. They could have went higher. Boone County, Kurtz, where was he from? I guarantee you, you do that, you're going to get Deputy Kuntz, more justice. Terre Haute officer, another area of operation of this drug ring, more justice. Deputy Pickett, more behind bars. Multiple missing killed cases, including children like Delphi, Flora. Multiple charges. And watch what happens. The full truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth will come out. The drug ring played a major role in multiple kids no longer being with us here today. And the dealers and the families know it in multiple cases. And they choose to keep that silent. Don't let that be seen. And the locals are complicit on helping them. Why? Because many of them and the elected officials, their corruption goes back to this drug ring. Their money, thousands, millions of their pockets being filled is what's keeping so much justice from happening. It makes me sick. And the silence when these families, some of them know exactly what's going on, and there's certain individuals that are remaining silent. I'm not giving out names, I'm not naming and pinpointing people, but there's some individuals that are saying silent, and why? The truth.